Alright, welcome to the first ever episode of NFL Film School. Now, I am with the great John Sheeran, who is a professor in football, his PhD in football. And John here is going to walk us through some of the most important plays from the Bengals, down to the wire loss to the Jaguars. Really a nail-biter. So the first play, John, we were going to talk about here is it's early in the first quarter. It's still 0-0, and the Jaguars are going to convert a third down. And the Jaguars, this whole game, that's kind of a theme, they had a lot of success on third down. So, John, tell me what you're seeing here.
I think you just alluded to the main point. Yeah, I think they were like 12 of 18 on third down, and this is, I want to say, the first of the game.
Yeah.
And so on offense and defense, scouting the Bengals probably isn't the toughest job for an opposing team to do. They know that on defense, they like to go into cover two. They like to play off coverage. They like to play zone. And this is going to be a little foreshadowing for the first touchdown for the Jaguars. So you see they have trips to the right side of the formation. Yeah, so he's just going to run a little crosser underneath a couple route combinations next to him on the bunch formation. And basically, Kirkpatrick is just going to get lost all behind this. All the stuff that's going underneath is going to basically free up the crossing route over the middle for an easy first down. Okay,
so let's see what happens here. So here's Kirkpatrick.
He's playing off coverage. He's not in a position to basically catch him and get his hands on him. And basically, all the commotion in front. You see Dennard is in front. He can't really do anything. He's still reading the play.
Yeah.
Bortles sees this. A lot of space opening up in front of him. And he's just got, acres of real estate when he's at the catch point.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we saw Kirkpatrick basically get on the short end of these chunk plays after the catch, and it was just schematically designed to get, I think that's Marquise Lee open in space and just like an easy third down conversion.
So let's go back to the bunch formation. So we got this is two receivers here, right?
Mm-hmm. And you have you have the tight end.
Tight end, yeah. This is the tight end, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, now Gunther is generally a good defensive coordinator. So how did they let someone like Marquise Lee, get completely open in space?
I actually didn't watch the linebackers on that rerun, but yeah, they're showing blitz, and all right. So they bring both linebackers in blitz. They have 6 guys coming in pressure. That right ahead just leaves the middle of the field vulnerable for anything over the middle. And when you have those route combinations, basically free up the off coverage cornerback. I mean, it's 3 yards. Like the Jaguars knew that the Bengals like to at least show their double A gap blitzes up the middle with their linebackers, and this time the Bengals just brought everybody, and the Jaguars just saw it right before it happened. I mean, that's all about film. That's all about film study right there. That's just knowing your opponent.
So about 6 minutes in, we get a long pass to Marquise Lee, right? Okay.
All right. So Jags went in the shotgun a lot this game. They utilized a lot of play action. And this is Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah.
So the Jaguars are just going to work against the levels of the zone coverage. They have linebackers. I think that's 4. Yeah, I think 4 or 5 underneath zones, underneath a cover 2 shell. Bortles just identifying. You see Williams gets too far deep in the flat. Vigil is obviously trailing behind the middle. You see the safety over top and the edge of the far right screen. He's playing too deep. He's guarding anything deep. But this is just a perfect. So this is really a great cover 2 zone beater. Just a little corner route against it, and the Bengals' struggles against tight ends continue here.
Yeah.
I look with a missed tackle.
Now this is we're going over this not because it's just embarrassing allowing the guy like Bortles to kind of do this,
they talked about just making Bortles beat them. Well,
Well, it was a great catch, but he was still open. It's just Bortles,
What is this? What is this, about a 15-yard post? Sean Williams is on the ground. It's the same basic defense. It's just cover 2 all across the board. It's just underneath zones and just finding the soft spots between the deep safeties and the guys underneath. And you have the guy, and you have two defensive backs in the flats being occupied by just a short out route. Takes away that boundary cornerback, and basically frees up that little soft spot, in the intermediate zone.
Yeah.
Obviously, it should have been more out in front of him, but.
Now, John, the previous game against the Colts, they said that they allowed the tight end. I mean, he's such a, I don't want to say nobody, but he's not known for putting up gaudy numbers. That I don't remember his name. I really don't. Frank or Harry? Harry.
Indianapolis Colts fans will get mad at you if you don't know who Jack Doyle is.
Jack Doyle, right.
Jack Doyle. Jack Doyle is not bad. But
I'm not saying he's bad, but I'm saying, that was his best game ever against us. And I think it was Vontez who said, like, that was on purpose. Like, we didn't want to let T.Y. Hilton burn us, right? And that would have made sense. You could say that could make sense. But, I mean, we needed Dunlap to win that game. It wasn't like we had a good game. But it does seem like we generally are kind of, generous with the middle of the field. Like, it's not this year or that year. And you're saying it's a schematic thing.
I mean, I don't think a team in the NFL plays more zone coverage than the Bengals do. I think the Steelers are very close. But the Steelers, as much as we may not like to admit it, they have much better athletes patrolling the middle of the field. Their safety's more athletic. Their linebackers are specifically more athletic. I think one of the biggest things was that we brought in Kevin Minter to play middle linebacker, right? But yeah. Kevin Minter, while he was an upgrade over Maluga, wasn't that much more athletic than Maluga was. And now we're having, I think, Vinny Ray play more significant snaps with Minter hurt. He's not really athletic. He's like 30 years old. Vigil's athletic, but he's still kind of learning. He's trying to get his instincts in proper. And Burfict has never been an uberly athletic guy as well. He's 245 pounds and he's not really fast or anything. So they don't really have a lot of athletes to just get away with just running zone coverage in the middle of the field. And then you don't have that. I mean, since they played two deep safeties, you have those guys basically making sure that no one gets any deep, but they can't really come up and stop anything over the middle of the field as well. So like they can play zone with their cornerbacks, but over the middle of the field, they're just going to give up a lot of chunk yards because they just don't have the athletes to cover that much space. Cover 2 is mainly just I'm fond to say it's a coward's defense. I'm more of a single high guy. I'm more of a Seattle cover 3. Jacksonville runs a cover 3, but they have the personnel to do that.
Exactly.
Because, like when you have those guys who can you can have that extra safety in the box. You can just rush forward. You can have your cornerbacks play off coverage and zone. When you have those types of athletes, just get away with that. It can be dominant. With cover 2, it's more just okay. I mean, we have middling guys. We won't give up big plays. We'll just have them just take what they can get, basically, and we won't give up any points in the red zone.
Yeah. All right, John. I think you wanted to talk about Chris Smith's big play.
I think it was at this moment that I realized that we haven't seen Billings get in the game like this early. And I didn't even know Pat Sims was hurt, but this is like the start of his real significant play time, and like there he is in the backfield.
Yeah. All right, let's
rewind that.
Let's go back. Yeah. Okay, so here's trying to find Billings. It shouldn't be hard. The guy's pretty big. He was on our show. I mean big in the good way, obviously. I mean big. Yeah, Billings.
He's right over the center.
Yeah.
He's right on the nose.
Yeah. Hard to miss.
He gets good bend in the shoulders.
Oh yeah.
And the hips. Yep. He's got his head out in front. He's reading the play.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. That's great penetration. That's the type of things that you never saw with Pecco, and then the coaches be like, "Oh, well, his job's not really to penetrate. His job's just to take up space." Well, Billings can do more than take up space.
Yeah.
Chris Smith reads it off the backside. That's just good penetration right there.
And then why did everybody think the play was over?
I have no idea. Like, I kind of half saw this live, and all of a sudden they just had the ball, and I don't know. It was
a nice surprise. I think it's maybe nobody expects it. That was their first fumble recovery this year. I think nobody thought.
Yeah, we don't get turnovers. We just drop interceptions and whatnot. And fumbles just magically bounce into the offense's hands.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Just look at that again. Like Chris Smith's explosion off the line. Michael Johnson's not doing that nowadays.
Yeah, that was great, man. I'm impressed that the Bengals saw something in Chris Smith and picked and made the trade for him. I'm really impressed with that. That's some good. Yeah.
I mean, this was against. I think the Jaguars had their center playing guard, Brandon Linder, who just signed like a $12 million a year extension. I think he was playing guard this game, so I think they might have had a backup center in there, and Billings took advantage. I might go over that play in my article this week.
So the throwaway, is that the A.J. Green where he missed A.J. Green? Because that was towards the end of the first quarter. Is that the same thing?
I think it was the
previous one.
It was the play before this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was writing that down, and then they converted the third down anyways. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, but I mean, that's that kind of play. You know, imagine we get that play, Green gets involved. If you burn Jalen Ramsey earlier in the game, the trash talking has a different kind of effect on you.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Nice play action. Yeah.
Yeah, this wasn't the deep miss to Green, but it was still aggravating for me to see. Like people want to talk about like the offensive line giving a pressure here, man. And the pressure was evident because somehow I think it was Hopkins who allowed pressure. It was Bodine who allowed pressure. We can go back to the start of the snap. But I think on the replay you see, you have basically two deep routes going down the middle of the field or down the left boundary side.
Okay.
So you have play action. I think it's Green on the far boundary. He's running a go. He's not getting any separation. The safety reads it. The Jags will run cover 3. They just have one single high safety. Safety picks up the Green route. Obviously, Andy's looking there first, and he's not open. I think that's LaFell who's not getting any separation out of the slot. So you have two basically boom or bust routes on the left side of the field, and you basically have max protection off play action, and that still can't hold up. So I don't know what Zampese's thinking here. This is second and short, and you're basically going for a play that you might run on 1st and 10 after establishing the run game, and they haven't done that at this point. So it's a lot of these plays, it's a lot of these just lame route combinations that really just question. I'm sorry, did I say Zampese? I meant Laser. It really questions if this offense knows what they're doing as far as passing the ball. And you want to think that if John Ross is in this game, if he's maybe subbing in for Brandon LaFell, giving him rest, maybe he gets more separation on that route. But as far as for what we're told, he's still in training camp. Yep. So he's on the top of the screen.
Yeah.
In that flanker spot.
Yeah.
Ramsey. I think that's it's Ramsey.
Yeah, it's Ramsey. Yeah.
Like catch coverage.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here.
So yeah, he's retreating. He's off. He's noticing the deep ball. Green's got
good protection.
Step on him.
Pretty good protection.
The ball gets out quick, so the protection is fine. And
that's about
I think
a yard separation.
I think what Dalton usually tries to do here is that he doesn't want to he wants to throw the ball away from the safety. He wants to make sure that the safety's not going to be able to get a play on it. But at some point, even if the ball is accurate at the catch point, the safety would still be 8-10 yards away. Ramsey gets. He doesn't get toasted, but there's clearly separation around AJ's part. And you always see when Dalton misses those deep balls, and they're always 40 yards down the field. The distance isn't that much of an issue. It's mainly just the placement. He always tries to go over AJ's outside shoulder, and basically the room for error on that throw, if you try to lead it on the outside, is very minimal because obviously the out of bounds right there.
Yeah, but look, Green is slowing down here. But look, if you look initially, the separation here, that's about a yard and a half, 2 yards.
It's enough if he just leads him just enough.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If he throws it a little bit ahead of Green, he's going to catch up to it. And Green is, I don't know who this is. I don't really care. But I'm sure Green is at least 2-3 inches taller than this guy. So even if this guy gets to make a play on the ball,
Barry Church. Yep.
He's going to make, Green is not going to have a problem jumping over that guy.
If he throws it where Green is just continue to run straight to touchdown, I don't think that can be disputed.
This is getting burned. This is what you call getting burned. This isn't close. This isn't like he got burned.
This is why I always question PFF's cornerback stats. They don't have a burn percentage. I guess this is just an
remember how he burned the Bills guy? I forgot his name.
Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, these guys are good corners, but compared to Green, you got a combination of incredible athleticism and he's a very polished receiver. Obviously, but
you saw Ramsey just retreat at the snap. He kind of knew he was just basically sending out for the vertical route, and he still couldn't catch up to him. Ramsey's damn special, and there's no one should ever doubt that. dude's a flat, like a 4'4", 4'3", 5" guy, and
Well,
just Green smokes him.
Well, you got him turned his head. Look how late he realizes it's basically a go route. Was that what you would call it, John? Maybe a go route?
Oh yeah, that's pure nine routes.
So I don't know if it was Dalton sold it or if it was Green. Let's see here. He starts out, then he turns in.
He realizes that Ramsey's not going to be in a position to get his hands on him, so he's just going to have an uncontested just vertical route. Ramsey just tries to catch up, but
what's Ramsey thinking here, in your opinion? Why is he so late to realize?
Well, Ramsey's establishing inside leverage, so he's basically taking away any in-breaking route, and I think that he has the hip flexibility to basically turn his hips. And if Green makes a break to the outside, like a comeback or an out or a hitch, he's gonna be able to flip his hips and get his hands on him. The one thing of which this coverage that Ramsey is playing, the one thing that can beat it is a go route. And Ramsey is basically that's Ramsey's last resort. His last resort is basically his fail safe and saying, oh shit, I gotta run with this guy. But I know, and Green is not like a 4'4" guy. He's definitely not John Ross fast, but he's got that second gear in him where he can adjust to these deep balls, and I think it's one of his more underrated.
Yeah, his football. I would say his football speed is as good as anybody's. To be honest,
he's one of the better ball tracking guys in the NFL.
Well, I mean, I've seen him burn so many guys that I'm pretty convinced that his 40 time was pretty bad, if I remember. But for a receiver,
I mean, it was like 4.48. Oh. Yeah, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't what you call game breaking.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying compared to other receivers, it seems like he gets separation deep better than anybody I can think of, and that's part of it is just, your speed on the field is different. But I was going to say, John, how much of this do you think is because it's 1st and 10 and people know the Bengals' conservative style, like they didn't expect them to take a deep shot here?
That's definitely part of it, I would say, because I don't think AJ has gotten a lot of deep targets this year at all. I think Brandon LaFell has more targets on go routes than AJ Green, and that's just blasphemous.
Yeah. All right, so we covered. Second quarter, Billings missed tackle.
Yeah, I was really intrigued with Billings because he got a lot of playing time. I was waiting for this game. He's got to make that play.
Okay, so let's see what's going on here, John.
Yeah, let's go back to this. Let's go back to the snap. Yep, he's shaded over the left side of the center at one tech, and I think this is great play recognition. He just reads where the play's going. He reads where the fullback is going. He knows that it's a little misdirection towards the right side. Yeah, a little draw. Watch him work around the blocks. Glasgow's basically freeing him up from 3 tech. Kind of just lowers his shoulder and doesn't square up properly.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what is that? Yeah, it's Yeldon.
It almost looked like
most out of it.
It almost looked like he didn't expect him, to spin. Like it's almost like
Yeldon dropped his hips fast.
Yeah.
So that's a tackle for loss turned to a 2-yard game.
Well,
did the Jaguars convert on this 3rd down?
Let's see.
Bob Perfect got hurt.
I gotta go like all these commercials.
Yep.
Yeah, they got the
version.
Another.
Let's go over this one then.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, all around, John, bad tackling. Wouldn't you say? I mean, if you look, they were without Fournette, which we thought was gonna. Let's be honest. We thought we had about a 30-40% chance of winning because Fournette, we were thinking, hey, we're gonna expose Bortles, right? But look, John, they ran for 149 yards, which, you could say, okay, look, they were ahead most of the game because they only averaged 3.7 yards a carry. But they had some, Ivory, Yeldon, all these guys broke off long runs, and some people might say the team has given up on Marvin Lewis. I don't know. I just don't know why we get in these games and we have these big tackling issues. And I used to think whenever Burfict was around, we wouldn't have those. But we're not tackling.
If you want to get into Burfict, I think that he had like one missed tackle before he went down, and maybe the knee injury kind of amplified that. But the Jaguars going into this game, they do not give up a lot of tackles for loss. They don't give up a lot of sacks. Like, their offensive line may not, across the board be very great, but they don't really have a lot of negative plays. And when you have a guy like Fournette, who, when he normally plays, who can break off long runs, and you have an offensive line that doesn't allow a lot of penetration up the middle, then you have a combination of just, a very efficient running game. And the Bengals don't get a lot of tackles for losses on defense. So this is kind of just like a mismatch in heaven for the Jaguars in terms of just basically running it down our throats.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this play here. Yeah, that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets.
I don't know where that guy came from. He just appeared.
Oh, man.
I think he came from over the middle, but I can't be sure.
Okay. Number 88. That's Marquise Lewis again. Is that him right here?
I think it's over the top.
Well, no wonder he got the first down. He's so fast. You can't even...
It's teleported.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's third downs over the middle. It's just... You can write a thesis about that for the Bengals.
Well, you already wrote your thesis, John. That's why you have the PhD in football. All right. And I think it was on offensive lineman, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Pick touchdown. Second quarter, 7 minutes.
Yeah, so if anyone remembers that Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl, this is basically the same play that the Seahawks tried to run, but the Patriots stopped. So you see Adam Jones guarding number 11 on the boundary. He was kind of playing about a couple yards off, and basically it was a false step from Jones that took him basically too far away for him to make any play on this. Basically, the underneath route from the slot basically created enough separation for Lee to just slant in, just catch an easy uncontested touchdown. This is just good execution by the Jaguars. I mean, Pac-Man either recognizes this play at the snap or he doesn't, and that's just the difference between a breakup, an interception, or a touchdown.
Well, look at the perfect placement here of the pick.
Yeah.
What is Pac-Man? What can he do here?
Like he can going back to the Malcolm Butler play.
Look, because he tries to get around his own player.
He has to recognize that immediately at the snap, like Butler did, or it's a touchdown.
Okay, so you recognize the snap, you go in front of your guy, or what?
Basically, you have to undercut it at that moment, and basically just make a break for where he's going to be. He's basically at this point he's following what he's seen. He has to see the play.
I see. Okay, he has to go here to this spot as soon as he can.
Yeah, I mean,
instead of looking at his guy this whole time.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think PFF had a stat, I don't know when, but it was about quarterback rating under pressure, and Dalton was like top 3, and I think a lot of people thought that was bullshit.
What?
But Dalton's whole issue is his internal clock gets sped up, and then he bans the pocket, he throws it away.
Yeah.
But when he can't escape that pressure, he does a good job of stepping into these throws and remaining accurate, I think.
I think, yeah, I agree. I think Dalton's issue is not reacting to pressure well. But when he plays within, like he sticks to the play. And it's like, this play is, I got to do this. And I see the pressure coming, but I see my guy, I'm going to do it. But when it's like, hey, you got to improvise. You got to run. You got to move. You got to, like Dan Marino. You ever watch Dan Marino, John?
Of course.
Yeah. You know that guy was really slow and clunky and all that, but he was amazing at buying time in the pocket, right?
Yeah. Like you don't have to be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Dalton's actually pretty athletic.
His capability.
Dalton. Rodgers is 34. Rodgers is like 34, right? 33. I don't know. 33. Dalton should be at least as athletic as I don't want to say at least, but I mean the athleticism there's not a big disparity. Right?
It's not really even about.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
It's mainly just about footwork. Like any great quarterback that you can think of, even Montana, Brady, Manning, they all had the feet to reset and just mismanaged pockets. But when the play breaks down like this, and this is like a 5-step drop. Yeah. Pressure just comes. He knows where the ball needs to go. He just gets rid of it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm good. I'm very proud of Dalton this, and that Josh Malone TD was maybe my favorite play of his this year. He just stood there, took the, and this is kind of similar. I mean, not as big of a play, but he stands there, knows the hit's coming. He delivers. But yeah, I mean, going back to the point, like, you know, Russell Wilson, it's part of it is just awareness. It's about, you know, being able to sense pressure, which someone like Russell Wilson is like maybe the best example I can think of. Dalton is that's one of his biggest weaknesses, in my opinion. But
right, like yeah. Right when you watch the Seahawks, you see, you know, 5-6 times a game Wilson like escape, like going, like running in a circle in the pocket, basically, and like retreating almost backwards and basically, you know, rolling out kind of like that. And when you see Dalton do it, it's just his feet get all tangled, and then he tries to just escape to his right. And it's almost like this. It's almost like the same thing you see every week. But Wilson makes it work because, you know, he knows where his guys are downfield. He knows that his receivers are going to work back to him. With Dalton, it's a lot of timing. It's all a boom or bust. And if it's bust, he just throws it away.
Yeah, you know.
He can't.
Yeah.
What's this?
Speaking of Tyler Kroft, by the way, you know, I like this kid. I mean, he works well with Dalton, wouldn't you say? I mean, I think it's 25 catches on 29 targets, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a dangerous phrase. I believe you said it was Brandon LaFell who worked well with Dalton in the offseason.
He does. Here's what I mean. When Dalton's passes to LaFell are on target, like his deep passes, it's because, and I'm saying LaFell's deep speed matches Dalton's arm strength. Whereas with Green, all right, forget it. Anyways, but look, anyways, my point with Kroft is I'd rather have a beefcake, you know, a guy who's going to play every week like this guy. He looks like a tough kid. You know, he looks like a small offensive lineman. I'd rather have a guy like that play every week, sure-handed, 25 of 29 targets, than have Eifert. Than pay Eifert, you know. But, anyways. Let's go.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I'm saying I agree. Don't disagree, though.
Yeah. Now I'm confused. But, okay, look. Let's get to this. All right. So, what do we have here? We have my man.
I was raking leaves when this happened. I was called into the house to watch this.
Yeah. All right, let's go here. Let's go. Yeah. This is crazy. It's the crazy. Okay. All right. So.
Oh, God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I don't know why I should be bothered by that. Like, but because it's green, it, like, somehow makes violence okay. You know what I mean?
Like.
At least he has some fight in him. At least he has some pride. You know what I mean, John? Okay, let's go here.
Johnson did this against Cortland Finnegan, and like I really like Andre Johnson as a player. And he was always quiet. I didn't know if he ever was capable of doing something like that.
That's exactly, yeah. With Green, I don't know anybody quieter than Green. But here's the thing: Green has like 40 yards his past 3 games. He had 6 yards. At this point, is the end of the first half, and like the team, you know. He's all they have, really. So let's look here. So here, you have Green just puts his hand on it. That's the normal. I mean, that's nothing. Come on. You can't complain about that. I think the play is over. And then, look at this. Unnecessary shove. Right? And then Green's... yeah.
I don't know what Ramsey was thinking after that. Like, I don't think he expected him to chokehold him, but, like... Does he really expect him to just go back to the huddle?
Yeah, I mean, if you push him back, it's not as effective as what he does here, right? Because look, you push him back, yeah, okay, that's kind of great, you move on. But here, it's like, no, this is going to stop. I'm stopping this. You know, John, there's a movie that came out, I think, like 1993 or something, before you were born. It's called Falling Down. And this play here reminds me a lot of that movie. I don't know if you know. So this guy, basically, his wife he gets divorced, and then she gets a restraining order, so he can't see his kid. And then he gets fired, and then the same day, and then like a gang mugs him. And then the poor guy wants to get breakfast, right? And he goes to like this McDonald's, I think, and he's like, I'd like some breakfast. And they're like, we stopped serving breakfast. And he's like, I know you stopped serving breakfast. You know, and then he's like. And they're like, what did they say? He's like, have you ever heard the expression, the customer is always right? Yeah, and he says, well, here I am, the customer. And then they say, that's not our policy. The customer. And, you know, and then they say, you know, we stopped serving breakfast at 11:30. And he says, you know, I want my breakfast. And then he gets, you know, takes out his gun. And then he's like, you know what? You're right. I think I changed my mind. I'm going to have lunch instead.
I'm going to have some lunch.
The point is, this movie... I see, and I don't want to compare AJ Green to this guy because this guy takes all of these guns with him, weapons all over the place. But you know, sometimes things add up, and you just kind of.
I've had enough of your shit.
Yeah, and I think I don't think it's so much Jalen Ramsey as the frustration of being a top, you know, I don't know, 10 player, a top receiver, maybe the top receiver in the league, in my opinion, and then not only losing, but basically not being involved in an offense that can't get anything done. Whether it's because of play calling, whether it's because, you know, as we saw, you know, Dalton he consistently misses them on the deep throws.
Yes.
And he's always been a Dalton defender because, you know, the two came into the league together, had so much success together. And let's be honest, not every quarterback would, you know, target Green as much as Dalton has. But, yeah.
I just want to say that people were talking about how Ramsey got in his head, and this was all because of something that Ramsey said. And I believe that to a certain extent. I think more or less that you're right, that this is just a ton of stuff just building up inside of him that he wanted to release somehow. And I guarantee you he would prefer to do this in a matter of just, you know, catching 10 balls for 200 yards and a couple touchdowns.
Right.
But, I mean, I think we all kind of knew that there was no way that Andy was going to get the ball to AJ when Jalen Ramsey was on him, because Jalen Ramsey's just that good. It's not a matter of AJ Green not getting open. It's a matter of just it wasn't going to work with that matchup. Something had to have happened between these two.
I agree, and that's the falling down scenario. But what I'm saying is, so the Bengals are the wife leaving him, okay, and getting the restraining order, which happened in the past.
Jalen Ramsey's McDonald's.
Jalen Ramsey's McDonald's, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Jalen Ramsey is the guy, says, you know, it's 11:32, and he says, I'm not giving you breakfast, okay? And he says, man, I just want some breakfast. And then the manager is being, you know, it's McDonald's. And then he takes him to the ground, and then later he's like, you know what? I didn't want breakfast. But the point is, why were you being so mean about this breakfast, and 2 minutes late you're not going to give me breakfast? That's Jalen Ramsey. But my point is, for someone like Green to go so far over the edge, for someone who's been so low-key, and we're talking about not just the NFL, his whole life. He's been low-key, humble, quiet kid. Everybody loves this guy. It had to be something building up over a long period of time.
And it had to be something so severe that Ramsey did for this to happen.
Yeah, he's McDonald's. He's the manager of McDonald's. We agree.
I don't want to believe that Ramsey said something about AJ's wife, but I think it had to be something of that severity for AJ to lose.
Yeah, but you know, John, I want to go back to a football point now, because I love the gossipy talk, but it's not, you know, it's not who we are. But I do want to say this, John. We were talking about, you know, there's no way Dalton's going to get AJ Green the ball against Ramsey. We knew that, right? Here's my thing. Like, Matt Stafford, when Calvin Johnson set the receiving record, Matt Stafford, I always thought he had a lot of potential. But he wasn't considered a great quarterback at the time. Not necessarily that much better than Dalton is now. Yeah, I mean, he kind of came up bigger in the clutch and all that, maybe, but still, not considered. Do you remember how they used Calvin Johnson that year? Do you remember?
In every way imaginable.
Every way imaginable. And it seemed like, I remember there's a game where the Cowboys decided to single coverage him. And he had 300 yards. It was hilarious. It was like, hey, we're going to... And I remember watching, and it's like, it seems like he's running all sorts of routes. I mean, it might have been like every single route in the book. So...
He runs a go, he runs a deep dig off play action, and he runs a few comebacks. That's about it. He doesn't run screens. They don't put him in motion. They don't give him reverses. They don't do anything to scheme him open. They won't do anything with Ross once he gets healthy. They scheme him open. They want them to do the same stuff that they might not be suited for.
Yeah.
And it's completely limiting the potential of everybody on this roster.
Well, let's see here. Dalton took a deep shot. I like this.
This is Malone.
Yeah. Malone might have been able to make a play on the ball if it wasn't ahead of him. It would have had to been a perfect pass, but...
Ross would have caught that?
Ross, you know, he would have gotten more separation. Yeah, and he would... Yeah, that's true. That's true. Actually, Ross would have caught. But Green would have caught it if it was a little shorter, for sure.
But this is a great transition. So we have a deep ball to a rookie receiver, but he's not John Ross. Because John Ross wasn't activated because, A, he missed the team photo, I think, and B, because we have Cody Core, who's a great special teamer on punt teams. So let's see him on special teams right here. All right, so we have Cody Core screaming down the middle of the field. Let's see him make this. Oh, whoops.
So he catches it here. That's Cody Core, number 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Cody Core. Let's see.
Well, he's not on the field to miss those tackles.
Yeah.
These jokes truly do write themselves. Like, this was the guy who was activated over John Ross specifically because of special teams.
Yeah.
What more needs to be said, you know?
Yeah. And then, yeah, he kind of, he went pretty far with this punt return. All right.
This is what they said was the turning point of the game, but, you know.
You know, I got to say, John, early in the third quarter, Dalton kind of came out fighting. Dalton, nice pass to LaFell here, if I remember. Yeah, that's a tough pass. That's that chemistry I was talking about.
It's the third good LaFell play of the year.
Yeah.
7 weeks into the year.
Yeah. But see how it wasn't overthrown? Okay, let's look at the next play. They gave him a nice pocket there. Nice pocket.
Play action, I think that was Miles Jack.
That's Croft, who you're undecided about, if you like, but...
Croft is good. I don't think he's great, but he's good.
He's not great, but look, man. Look, if John Ross is back, and AJ Green, for some reason, decides not to quit on the bench, Croft is you don't need a star at tight end, man. That's good enough.
I don't think you do either. I definitely wouldn't mind if they invested a little bit more in the position.
Okay, so let's get to the final play. 13 minutes, fourth quarter. Andre Smith allowed the sack.
So I think the story here was Jake Fisher got sick. Cedric LeBoy, has had a lot of trouble with this specific move. There's this guy setting him up outside and just a little jab step inside, and he receives Smith.
Yeah.
Just imperfection, just no ounce of athleticism in his kick slide. No way to mirror Yannick.
In basketball, we call that the Euro step, John.
Yeah, it's a little Euro step. But, I mean, that's just knowing who you're going up against. You know that Andre Smith is, 31 years old. He's not suited to play tackle anymore. Yannick knows this. He's athletic enough to just basically leverage himself outside, go back inside. Smith doesn't even get a hand on him. And there's a boy on the other side just getting beat around the edge.
That's true. Yeah, they both got there. One of them would have got. I mean, Obey would have lost that too. Yeah.
I think some beat writers said this was the point where Dalton just looked out of it and just completely beyond frustrated. At this point, he's playing without AJ Green. He's playing with the worst offensive line in the league. He just wants out of there.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Well, John, speaking of getting out of there, I think that's enough of this tape.
I think we've covered enough. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good class, and we will try to maybe do this every week if we can. Sort of.